Hello, people. I'm getting like a natural energy boost of something. This was probably like $2 or $3. Who knows? Michelle got them for me. Or got them for her and I stole them.
So Fresco.
Yeah, it's tasty.
Apple lemon mint. It sounds good.
Yeah. Real fruit juice. Taste from the Mediterranean. You got a Monster Kill You drink.
Taste from New Jersey.
Yeah. What's going on, people? We're here. We're in the throes of complete reorganization, which I'm excited about. But my back is not. All this. Yeah, my knees are bruised from crawling around on the floor. This is manual labor is not what it's cracked up to be. Actually, I don't think anybody's cracked it up to be a good thing, but man, I'm tired. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll touch on that a little more as we go here. Some questions that folks have.
Yeah, it's looking legit though. We're about to have a garage sale. You ready for that?
Yeah. Email Jeff at obsessgarage.com.
Jeff the emailer.
Oh man. Let's see here. So Dan, he's always the first one to chime in here. Dan from Minnesota. What's up, OG crew? Happy Friday. I've really enjoyed the membership wash videos with everyone from OGHQ. That's good.
Oh, we had 3 more scheduled and I canceled them all this week.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You're like, yeah, schedule them. I scheduled them and none of them got done.
Yeah, well, there's an actual reason. I mean, we're like in it.
Right.
Getting it done.
So.
This is the month of the project completion. Yeah, that way I can go back to living a happy life.
Let's see. Harv wants to know, did you see that Ed Bullion hung up a bunch of spray-painted speed limit signs on the Sonic cabinets?
Yeah, I figured it'll only be a matter of time for those Ed Bullion bobbleheads everywhere. You know, I don't care. I mean, when I do someone's garage, I want it to be theirs. It's not mine. You know, I'm going to do what I can to help make it look as good as possible. And, you know, I'm always going to have some experience with how I would like to see it go. And, you know, when I leave, they can do whatever the heck they want, you know, make it their own. You know, but it doesn't matter to me. It's kind of like people are like, oh my gosh, did you see someone bought your car and did XYZ to it? I'm like, I don't freaking care. You know, once I left Ed's garage, his garage is dead to me. You know, in theory, or I guess you could say, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
All right, it's his now.
Yeah.
You did your thing, and whatever happens after that's on him. Let's see. I want to get back to one other chat here question. Good morning, everyone. This is from Noah. Matt, I know you are a Nike fanboy. That being said, what's your favorite pair of Nikes?
Right now, it's the Air Zoom Pegasus 36 that I'm wearing today. I couldn't figure out, man, my feet, like when we were doing the CrossFit gym, the transition, getting it out of here, by the end of the day, I could barely walk. My feet were hurting so badly. It's because of running, marathon running. And that's got to be it, because the days I don't run, my feet don't freaking hurt. And I've never had my feet hurt. You know, Michelle had that period for a while where she went and did some orthotics and stuff, where her, you know, when she was coaching, like she'd be coaching 4 or 5 hours a day doing 2 different sports and just in brutal pain standing up the whole time. And I had the same thing where I'm like moving from one foot to the next. But man, yeah, it's been a struggle to try to do everything. We'll touch on that a little bit today about just quitting everything.
All right. Speaking of quitting here, from Tim in the chat, this is good. This made me chuckle. I just watched Chris's Washington interview. I'd like to submit my resume now for the day when Chris wakes up and is tired of working at OG.
I was thinking about this. All these other all the people here, they all have a buddy. Except for you.
Yeah.
Actually, you and my dad don't have a buddy. You know, so that'll be in our hiring docket in the future. Chris needs a hangout buddy, and my dad needs a hangout buddy.
Put that on your resume.
Yeah, Ted's got one. Bryce has one. Kyle has one.
Yeah.
My mom has one. You know, you need one.
Maybe me or Dad can just be buddies and we won't hire anybody else.
There we go. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, he's perfect. Yeah. Do you like bourbon? Okay, you're hired. Let's see. For a freshly painted car, or excuse me, recently painted car,
Mm-hmm.
how long should one wait to do a correction and coating?
0 minutes. Just go. This is a common misconception that that it has to off gas for 6 months or something ridiculous. If it's a new car, 100% guaranteed, ready to polish, ready to coat, ready to go, ready to PPF. If it's it's a new paint, it usually says it on the darn bottle, but you could ask your paint guy, and I don't know how reliable that is, but generally by the time it gets back to you, because they'll paint it, it'll sit there, they'll cure it, and then they'll do whatever they sand it and polish it and do whatever they do to get the fish eyes and dirt nibs and all that stuff out of it, and then they'll put it on. It'll sit there for a while, and then they gotta put the car back together. So let's say you had your bumper cover repainted, maybe wait 6 or 7 days, but after that you should be good to go. So that whole off-gassing, is a lot of it is based on, it's not a myth, but it's based on older paint systems, newer paint systems. The solvents come to the surface and it's off-gassed really quickly.
All right, let's see here. Oh, this question popped up on Facebook and Instagram now a couple times in the chat here, because in the Swiss Tracks video that went up, I guess, yesterday, you mentioned getting a GT4 up over the lip there, and so now people are asking if there's a GT4 in the parking lot.
Yeah. So I got my allocation. So I wanted to push it as far as possible. I really didn't want it till late this year, early next year. But I'm going to take it, and I probably could wait, because I bet you there's going to be a lot of them available. But I got one on MSRP of Porsche in Wilmington. And so Tom up there is a friend of Smokey's GT. So Sean and Mayer and the Smokey's GT guys, got me an allocation at the small. There's a smaller Wilmington store, Porsche dealership. And so I'm going to fly up there. We're going to do a whole video series. So I'm going to do it's called Gentian blue. It's like a metallic, kind of darker purplish blue color. I'm gonna make a whole video on exactly what I'm gonna do, but I should be taking delivery second week of July, something like that. So I'm gonna fly up there, take delivery, ship it right to Billy, and we'll do our thing, and full PPF and everything on it. And but in order to get to that point, so part of the rush to get HQ done, part of me canceling a lot of things, is so that I want to get the Corvette done. Get the M5 done, get those sold, get my my M3 and my GT3 RS all dialed in. I'm considering selling the M3 as well and living with 2 cars for a while. It'll probably be a mistake to sell the M3, so I'm not sure that I'll do that. But the M3, I want to paint the trunk, get the paint dialed in, get it coated instead of waxed. Get the suspension, lowered, get some wheels for it, and I'm probably, if I keep the M3, I'm going to do carbon ceramics on it. So I'll probably do F80 carbon ceramics. There's a retrofit kit for that. I will have. So I want to simplify the car projects and spread them out. We also want to get Kyle's suspension done, his intake done. So we're kind of getting the other side set up so that we have room to get the darn thing done. Yeah, so see, that blue is pretty cool. So I'm going to do a Gentian blue with, obviously it'll be a manual. I'm going to do regular 2-way seats. 18-way seats are stupid. You'll never find a setting. It would drive me nuts. So I'm definitely not doing the 18-way seats. It's one of those things like, well, 18-way is better than 2-way. I'm like, well, you sit there adjusting for the rest of your life and you never get it right. I don't like those at all. And so I'm not doing sport buckets, because the GT4, I'm going to be driving around all over the place. That's going to be my car. And so I'll be going to swap between the RS and the GT4. And because it's a Porsche, I can't let it sit out there, because then I'll get rodents likely. And so I'll have one car in the bubble and one car here at HQ. And the goal is to get HQ set up and efficient so that we don't have anything blocking my way in and out. We have a garage door opener on that side, so I'll be able to pull in and out, keep one car here, and just swap and keep them clean, and that's what's bothering me most, is all of my cars are dirty, like every single, especially pollen season right now. So do that. That's why I'm considering selling the M3. So we'd have 3 cars. The Raptor's kind of needs some Matty love. I get the Raptor, back to the standard. And so if I go down to 3 cars, all 3 of those cars will be huge projects. But just to simplify, I'm in the simplification phase because I've started to make this a job, and I don't want it to be a job. I want it to be, a business that I own. So that's the plan with the GT4. So I'll be doing a video here soon of the full spec that I'm deciding on. And then after I do that video, I'm going to do a video with the guys from Porsche Wilmington, get their input. And it'll be funny to watch me give them a hard time. I'm sure I will. About when they tell me you absolutely need to get light design. And I tell this light design's stupid. It's a waste of money. And we kind of go back and forth. That'll be kind of a fun little conversation as well. And then again, we'll take delivery, and I'll be sure to share that whole process.
So that's Wilmington, North Carolina?
Correct.
Gotcha. And hopefully July. So
yeah, I think the build locks May 15th or something like that, and so I have until then to make changes. And then this is the first and second allocation round, so no paint to sample, which is fine because I like that blue.
All right, let's see. Speaking of such things, A7 on Instagram wants to know what happened to your bike. You were supposed to make a video riding it.
Yeah, it's still sitting there. Still sitting there. That's part of my canceling. We'll call
Cancel
it Mormon. No. That's not canceled. That's going to be added or used. And so, the travel's been canceled. What else did I cancel? I'm probably going to take some time off of Stag. I have to call Rick and talk to him about that. My CEO's group. The travel's the big thing. Cancel some cars. Cancel, I've also, I shouldn't say cancel. That's a bad way to put it. I've made a decision to stop making it such a priority to follow up on YouTube comments. So I've already written like a little, thing that I'll put on each video about, I want to engage and I want to answer questions, but 95% of the questions they're not questions. They're just telling me I'm stupid. And so I don't like the anonymous ability of YouTube comments. I never have. And I'm finding it less and less valuable to contribute there. And so YouTube comments and Instagram comments are 2 things that I'm not going to follow up on anymore. I'll still read them, and still thumb through them occasionally. But that was a priority for me, so I would go in and it would take, an hour and a half a day to go through. And half the time I'm just fighting people. It makes me angry. So I think it will help me to stay laser focused on doing me and not worry about other people telling me how to do it. And so 2 really good examples would be the Shell video and the I knew the IDA video would be polarizing to lazy people or people that like to justify their insecurities. So I knew that those 2 videos are ones that I didn't follow up on any comments because I knew that wouldn't be of value. I'm just as talking and discussing with Shell is just as weird for me as it is for the video. So I'm just sort of testing out to see how that could work, and clearly it doesn't really work. But comments in there are ridiculous about everybody as their daddy told them something, and so they're the lady is a gosh darn chemical engineer, and she's talking about her her oil. What everybody's like, well, my dad told me that everything's refined in the same place, and so it's all the same. I said, oh, okay, sure it is. Okay. Anyway, so commenting is something that I'm not canceling. I'm just not going to go through literally. I've gone through every single comment on YouTube for the last 5.5 years and responded to everything that needed to be responded to, and monitoring that hour and a half, 2 hours a day since the beginning. And a lot like making daily videos. The value there, value versus time is not. It's not the value. Again, there's not as equal of an exchange in value between me and the people there because the people are anonymous, and so I find that to be much less valuable. And just something something I've been thinking about for a long time. and I think that I'd be better served focusing on following up on email and following up on direct messages, rather than focusing on something that's so anonymous.
All right, so where was it? Sean here asked, so are you still going to go to Arizona to visit Cox Hose Reels? What's the plan there?
No, we're going to schedule a Zoom meeting. I'm just not doing it. It's too much, man. I just not having fun. Flying around all over the friggin' place, 2 times a month, 3 times a month, going somewhere. A lot of times, like going somewhere for like an hour and a half meeting takes me 3 or 4 days. Sitting in cars, sitting on planes. That's not what I want my life to be. So I'm just not going to do it. Just set a virtual meeting and do virtual tours, and only travel when it's like of real value to me and to whatever I'm chasing at the time. Because I've got so much stuff here to do. And maybe I'll ramp that up when I get all of these things that I've taken on, all these projects I've taken on, all these new products, all of, building out the vision I have for a garage design, and all of that isn't going to happen if I'm traveling 3 out of 5 weeks a month. Not going to work. I freaking hate it. So why do it? No one's telling me I need to do it, so why the heck would I do it? Is the way I look at it, All
right, Mark in chat here asked a good question. I say good because of the timing here. Is there an update on landscaping?
Yeah. Jeff was just out yesterday, so we signed the. I gotta get a quote back from the guy to do all of the applications. So he's gonna start here in the early next month. And then we'll be sure to do an update as we do our secondary soil samples and show, how it looks as we come into the season, and the grass hopefully takes off.
All right, let's see here, Matt. I am only getting 875 psi from my 1122 using an MTM gauge at the handle. You were getting about 950 with a 4.0 nozzle. Is this normal, or should I go down to a 3.5 nozzle to increase psi?
So that gauge is terribly inaccurate. It's relative. So 875 is well within range. This should be just fine.
All right, Vin Sanity wants to know, what's the ballpark timing when I can purchase the complete Krenslow pressure washing system with all of the new Mosmatic parts?
Well, you can do it right now, but the one-click solution should be next week, I would guess. We're finishing up. I'm using a lot of the guys here to help finish up, getting the other side set up. So I can narrow it down to doing little projects instead of like the big move of everything. So I'm hoping to work on that and the packages with adding the PF22.2 and taking better new photos and setting up. It's a lot simpler than it sounds, or a lot more complicated. It sounds simple. It's a lot more complicated than it looks. We have to go in and create all these kits and inventory changes and all of that stuff. So maybe if you want one, just email us and we'll it's like 2 parts, so they're three SKUs, so it's really easy to do. We just need the inlet fitting, or the inlet of the gun. We need to choose the nozzle and the gun package, and that's basically it.
All right, one last question here about the Shell video. Eric wants to know, what was the most important bit of information you learned from your trip to the Shell facility?
Clearly it didn't answer my question, is why do I choose Shell? I'm only getting one side of the discussion, and you can usually sniff it out, right? So unlike the terrible judges of character in the comments section on the YouTube channel, who's just terrible judgment. I mean, this lady was really sharp. What I really was hoping to do was to spend like lunch with her. And there's a whole bunch of marketing people around, and then and the cameras are there, and so I just wanted to talk science, with a scientist, and we off camera we talked some a bit about some other types of fuel, and we talked a little bit about crude coming out of the ground and things like that. But some of the other stuff about engines, she's not an engine expert. She just knows a little bit about it, and so asking some of the questions about the differences in octane and the anti-knock rating and things like that, or was it AKI, anti-knock indicator? Just interesting topics that again, I'm not obsessed with, but it is something that's a great lunch or dinner conversation with somebody who's an expert in development of something like fuel. And it's just an interesting conversation to be had. And so, again, what I would want to do in the future is I'd want to go to the refinery. I'd want to start to learn how does it work. And so she talked a little bit, again, off camera, a little bit about how how gasoline is extracted from light crude. And they basically boil it, and then there's different viscosities, and so there's heavy stuff that falls to the bottom, and the really thin light stuff rises to the top, and that's how they can extract out jet fuel versus certain certain gasolines and kerosenes and diesel and all of that stuff.
Jason Wallace on Facebook wants to know, will the kitchen area be staying in that other half of the building?
No, definitely not. No, it's actually going to be pretty cool. We'll have a video up here today. There's also one on Inside the Hex where I explain it. I explain it better on Inside the Hex, where I'm going to be doing MSS Plus there and a desk, so I could be set up cameras and lighting and have conversations there with a camera when necessary, or an unboxing of things on that desk, and that will be my desk until we don't have to kick me out and move someone in there to do whatever it is we need them to do. But yeah, that crap's coming out soon.
Let's see. Keith on Facebook wants to know, how often do you reapply Powerlock /845? What's your decon process? Clay, full polish, spot polish, or none?
I really generally don't re-add to it, so I get 8-9 months out of it by topping it with Bead Maker after every wash, or whatever drying aid I used to use, D170, whatever it is, I forget the number of Meguiar spray wax or Griot spray wax as a drying aid. But 9 months I would do the full decon, which would be decon soap, then iron removal, and then a light auto scrub, and then depending on what the condition of the paint was, whether I needed to compound it, I generally hopefully wouldn't need to do that. I could just simply do a single step polish, something like Perfect Finish, just jewel it up, clean up any little toweling marks, and that would be basically the process, and then reapply.
All right, let's see in the chat here. Ted wants to know, can you help him? He needs a 4-post garage lift suggestion that will accommodate a tall truck to fit underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd look at, I'll obviously look at Benpack. I don't know a model number for that. I don't think the Twin Bush is stout enough. So you're probably going to need something like a 10,000 or 14,000 pound one that has taller posts. So look at Nussbaum's site, look at Benpack, look at Rotary. If you look at those four, the issue is to get up that high, you're probably going to need again a 10 to 15,000 pound rating, which means that you're going to be $10,000 or so for something like that likely. If you want, you can email me. We can talk with Nussbaum about theirs. But again, you're talking $15,000 for a really stout, tall 4-post solution.
All right, Dave wants to know, is there going to be any track time in the Corvette before you get rid of it?
No, done with that frickin' thing. Not doing it. I'm putting the factory headers back on it and getting it out of here. I got to finish the interior, cleaning it up, and done. So as soon as I get Kyle's suspension done and intake done, we get the other side set up so I can do that. And do a couple wash and talks. Last will be the conclusion of the Corvette, and then hopefully I can sell the darn thing. So I'm going to leave the Corsa on it and put the factory header and exhaust. We called Billy Boat. I think they've canceled it, just like every other garbage American aftermarket. How many times do you call them? Twice. I call them twice. We've emailed them twice. I ordered this freaking exhaust in November. It's February, almost March. And, oh yeah, we're almost done. We're shipping it on Friday. Well, that was 2 Fridays ago. And so now I'm calling them and telling them, look, I'm done. I'm selling the car, so I'm done. Waiting for you. And theirs probably wasn't going to fit anyway. So I'm putting the factory headers and mid-pipe back on. And then, because for most people I'm going to sell the car to, it's just, it's too gnarly with headers and exhaust.
It's quite loud. It's bad.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun, but man, yeah, it's going to be too much for pretty much anybody. I would have kept the headers and exhaust on it if I kept the car, but I'm done with that hunk of crap.
All right, let's see. Our big-headed friend James here wants to know. I know in the past we talked about a new video for proper care and maintenance for our wash gear. Is this something that you're still considering doing coming up? Looking forward to that in Krenslem maintenance video.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
No, we discussed it on a podcast once, just about taking care of your stuff after washing.
Yeah.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, sure.
I have a running list for Matt, actually.
Yeah. That's what I want to be able to do, that list. Oh. That's part of the reason why I need to slow my frickin' roll. I can do all these things that I love doing way more than sitting on a stupid plane, traveling around everywhere.
All right, let's see. Next question from Wayne on Facebook. Hex member here. When new content is posted inside the Hex, is it announced somewhere, or do we need to just check?
You just need to go to it and check it. Since we built it on our own, it's still, it's crude. Rather than doing something like Patreon or something like that, where I have to give them, 10% of the money, and then I'm stuck with their whatever they say. We built it on our platform, which means that it's kind of clunky. So someday we'll get there. I think we'll need an app, in order to be able to do that. But something as simple as an indicator, or I would just go to the site. Take you 2 seconds, just click on it.
Wayne also added here at the end. Also, the Inside the Hex logo is really good. Whoever came up with that did good. So.
I don't remember who did that. Did Bryce do that? I don't remember.
So, pat on the back to Bryce or Mike or whoever did that. Let's see. Don wants to know, would your twin bush scissor lift be appropriate for low production commercial shop mechanical service? Does it have safety features like a 2-post?
Yeah, pretty much every scissor lift will have. They'll either have redundant pistons, or they'll have. This one has air locks, so latches have to blow. I guess. I would want something better though if I was going to be using it all the time. So I'd want a Nussbaum or a bend pack of some sort. The twin bush does have some advantages, but we're still trying to figure it out because. I bet you they probably, if they have any, they only have a couple of them, and I have to raise the price on it because I got anally raped by selling, a couple $100,000 worth of lifts. So I still haven't quite figured out how to. It's on my list. Nussbaum, bend pack, and twin bush are 3 things that once I'm gonna tackle here over the next couple of months to figure out what's the direction here. On how to provide people a lift where I can provide a resource to people and make sure that it's even worth it, because these idiots are frickin' racing to zero. Every one of them is like 15% margins, 10% margins. What's the point? I'm gonna make $500 on a $5,000 lift to do all that frickin' work to teach people about it. Spend money and time to teach people how it works, and they're so stupid that they're freaking giving it away. It doesn't make any sense. Create some margins, or else just let them to have their crappy stock photos. So that's something I'm working on to get it, so that what I would want to do, again, I don't want to use stock images. I want to go and take proper photos of the questions that I'd have and answer those. And so I've been working with Nussbaum, and then they came back with 15% margins. I'm like, what am I going to do with that? I want you 30% margins to put in the amount of time and energy and effort it's going to take. I'm going to have to buy every lift, set every lift up, spend a week with each one of them, take considerable resources to get descriptions written and photos taken and promote the darn thing, teach people about how it works. And I'm not doing that for frickin' $500. It's stupid. So, and I got the carrying costs, and they're like, well, here's a solution. You could buy $100,000 of them up front. Yeah, I tried that with Twin Bush and frickin' backfired on me. So, as you can see, I'm rather disgruntled with that that portion of the car world, because it's goofy. The tool and equipment world is not so bright when it comes to protecting their product protecting the pricing of the product, and making sure, because they're sold through a lot of jobbers, and the jobbers are like, well, man, I can make $250 this week on a lift, so let's just whore it out for nothing, and it completely destroys the integrity of the product. So anyway, something I'm working on, trying to figure that out.
All right, Jonathan wants to know, he watched the Swiss Tracks video, it appears. Did you consider changing the layout of your work area and the new side to take the 2 doors into account? Looks like you copied and pasted the old floor plan into the new, so I was wondering why. Is it still the optimal layout? Did you want to get it up and running first before trying something different with the space?
I'm not sure what he's talking about. You
have
to put the edge pieces against the door. There's really no other way to do that. That's it.
I think he's talking about the cabinets as well and the lift, like they're basically going in the same. We're just taking it and moving it.
Yeah, there's no other way to do it. You want to drive in straight, unless you want to turn, which doesn't make any sense on a lift. You want the lift to be straight. The cabinets fit in the corner there, and there really isn't any other option for that area. So no, I hadn't considered any other layout because there isn't one. And because we're doing pallet racking in there, so if you'd put the pallet racking in where the cabinets are and put the cars in the back, you wouldn't be able to get through the garage. So yeah, the layout that we're doing would be the most efficient and really the only way to set it up. It's pretty similar to this side, so it would make sense to make it look the same.
All right, Stack wants to know, is there an update on when you're building the contest winner's garage?
Yeah, this house is supposed to be done at the end of June, early July. So that's the way it's been since the beginning. So, as soon as he closes, then I'll be going up there, and they get settled in. We'll be going up and scheduling. So, probably a month or so before that, we'll have them come down here. They're in Hawaii now, so when they get here over stateside, then they can, I'll fly them down here, and then we'll sit down and design the garage maybe a month and a half or 2 months in advance, and then we'll get everything ordered, and that way it'll all be there, and schedule it at the right time, and then Mike and I will go out and do it. Again, probably early July.
All right, do you have any suggestions on maintenance cleaning fabric seats as you do leather seats? Parentheses, I'm not eating cheeseburgers in it.
Well, then all you really should need to do is vacuum it. That's about it. And occasionally use the same procedure that we use for Alcantara. You'd spray it down with some sort of fabric cleaner like Color Locks version or Sonex Alcantara and fabric cleaner, and just kind of suck out the solution. So you use a spray bottle with water, and so I'd get the detergent in there and then mist it down and then try to suck it out with your shop vac or blot it out with your microfiber towel, and that's how I maintain like the cloth seats in the M3 to just try to keep it clean. Vacuuming is the biggest thing.
All right, let's see. This is from Mike in the chat. I just purchased your CSL XO combo.
Mm-hmm.
Live in Pennsylvania, so it's still a bit cool up here. Mm-hmm. Is there a recommended minimum temperature to apply? I do have an insulated garage, but no heat.
I don't know. That's a good question. I think you'll be fine at pretty much any temperature. I'd get close the door and put a little space heater in there, a little kerosene heater, one of those flame throwing heater things, and get it up to 40 or 50 degrees. I think you'll be fine. I don't know if there's a recommended. It might be on the bottle. I don't know why 50 degrees is coming to mind. So if you're 20 degrees in the garage, I don't know if that will affect it. I would think you'll probably be fine. I think the bigger issue is humidity than anything. Obviously, if you wouldn't want the bottle freezing out in the garage. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but I want to say 40 or 50 degrees would probably be the recommended or higher.
All right, let's see. And then we have someone chiming in. Many other ceramic coatings recommend minimum temperature of 40 degrees. So
yeah, so I that's probably where it's coming to mind.
Let's see. You mentioned in the Corvette wash and talk that you have now seen Beadmaker can attract dust in less humid areas.
Well, I haven't seen it, but that's what everybody's telling me, so I'm taking them at their word.
Do you have any recommendation or different steps to reduce that effect?
No. See, it doesn't really matter much to me because, I have to wash the car twice a week if I wanted to keep it clean where I'm at. As soon as you drive out, it's bug crazy. Bug and pollen and dirt crazy for whatever reason in Central Florida. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you could do. I don't know if people are doing something wrong. I'd find it hard to believe that every person that's talking about is doing it wrong, but yet we get some real doozies of people, doing it wrong, doing everything wrong. Like, I want to just let you know what you're talking about doesn't work. I say, well, I've done it 1,000 times and it works, so you're doing something wrong. And they always swear up and down they're doing it correctly. But I'd assume that, maybe there's some static properties of it. Maybe they're using a more plush towel or something. I'm not sure. But I haven't experienced it. Everybody keeps talking about it, but I don't know.
All right, Jimmy wants to know, what's the time frame for building your garage at Michelle's house, assuming that is still in your long-range
Time
plan?
frame is when somebody gives me $500,000, I'm in. So that's the time frame.
So it's going to be a while, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like this question here from, looks like Dimitri on Instagram. Slightly off topic. We're all about off topic here, Dimitri. It's okay.
Yeah, I love off topic. It's my favorite.
I am debating buying out the current business I work for.
Mm-hmm.
With your past experiences, do you have any recommendations or advice on making the leap from a W-2 job employee to a business owner? Did you have certain requirements that have been met before you made the jump? This will be a family-run breakfast/lunch restaurant, for what that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming since you've been in it, you have some expertise around how to deliver the service. The question would be, how astute are you in the other aspects of running the business, like leading, hiring, firing, or employing someone and leading someone to do that? It would be, I would find it, if you've never owned a business, to buy a business that's existing, I would find that really difficult. I mean, think about you and I, the learning curve from the beginning to today. If I tried to buy this business today and not have any past experience, it would go probably really awry. It'd be so much that it would just be, almost impossible to keep up. So some things would certainly slip, where you'd mess some things up. Just think about all the little minute details of paying sales tax, or dealing with you'd probably have some sort of HR provider. But imagine drinking from a fire hose, all the different shipping operations, all the different things that could go awry if you're not an expert in all of that. So acquiring a business, obviously you'd want to be careful with how much debt you took on to buy it. I think you want to make sure that you don't preclude yourself from, when you buy a business, it's not like buying a house where you can only buy what's for sale, right? It's like normal people they just drive down the street, and whatever sign is up or whatever, whatever the realtor says is the way it goes. But that's not real business. That's not real life. Whenever you walk into someone's door, you're knocking on their door. I mean, what's going to stop you from coming up with some sort of solution? So I would suspend the disbelief that you have to go get a traditional loan. You have to go to Bank of America to get it done. That's all bull crap. You can come up with something that is an equal exchange of value from both sides. And whatever you can dream up where there's value to both parties. I would say just don't preclude yourself from just sticking with the status quo of, they want $1 million. I'm going to go get $1 million loan and put 20% down, and I'm going to pay 5.5% interest to the bank. And of course, the bank's going to want all the financials and all this other bull crap. What if there's owner financing? The owners will let you purchase over a period of 20 years or something like that. Maybe they want a payment stream. And the difficulty you're going to run into is that the owners may not have an imagination either, because they may be going through a business consultant of some sort. Sounds like you have a relationship with the owners, so it's possible you can come up with something that works for both parties, that's beneficial, that is non-traditional. So just be ready for all the bookkeeping and all the other bull crap that comes with it, that you have to be ready for. Either you have to have somebody do it, have somebody hired to do it, so keeping people that are doing it, continuing to do it. And the problem is you don't know what you don't know, unless you've been running the whole business from the beginning and it's just a turnkey. If it is, then I think your biggest obstacle will be figuring out how to pay for it.
Right. A lot of times when people sell businesses, they'll stay on X amount of days, months, whatever.
Sure.
They'll keep certain people in place for an amount of time just so that transition, and you can learn from those people. Here's all the stuff that you didn't know that you didn't know.
Yeah.
And they can kind of guide you through that. If you just take it over.
So that's another example of negotiating whatever needs to be negotiated instead of just following the rules. There are no rules in that game. There are no rules. Don't listen to a business broker or some real estate agent or some bullcrap person who doesn't know anything about anything. Don't listen to a financial advisor. I was one of them. I didn't know jack. So, this is something that you're making up, and so you can make up whatever you need to make up. And that's the biggest epiphany that I've come into or learned about through this process of leaving a job and then doing what I'm doing. And even then, I kind of fall into this status quo of, I need to travel, I need to do this. And then I wake up one morning like, why do I need to do that? I'm going to do what I want. Why do I need to keep following up on comments that I'm finding to be less valuable to both parties when no one's telling me to do that? I made up that rule. And so I'll make up a new set of rules. And we can all, I think both sides can always benefit from being a little bit intelligent and being a little bit creative. So that's the only piece of advice I could give you, is to be creative. Should have seen it when I was negotiating for talking about the building for the CrossFit gym, and the freaking real estate agents. They just, the lady walked away. I was like, well. I said, well, would they do owner financing? Rather than me giving up money, let's just owner finance it. She's like, well, you'd have to put like 20 or 30% down. I'm like, why? Like, well, that's just standard procedure. Well, why? I'm like, well, if it's owner financing, why would I need to put anything down? I don't want to put any down. That's the whole point. I said, she's like, well, that's not standard. I said, well, maybe they need a cash flow. Maybe that's what they want. How do you know? You didn't even ask them. I was freaking yelling at this lady. And I shouldn't have, but she just has no concept for anything outside of the box, no imagination. And that, to me, has been this huge epiphany from a business perspective. Business is just an excuse to be in relationship, as my coach puts it. And so you can make up any excuse to be in relationship you want. Who's going to stop you? That's just my take on it.
All right, let's see. Our good friend from Alabama here, David, wants to know, Matt, what books are you reading right now?
None. I don't really read books.
No audiobooks? No.
No, with Joe Rogan's podcast, I really don't need any books. I can listen to basically an autobiography every single day, which I think is interesting. So I wish I was well read. I read one product description at a time is my, happy place. Used to be forums, so I wish I could just sit down and read books. Just can't. It's not that I can, I just don't. It takes me so freaking long to read. I'm just not really into it.
And I apologize to our chat people here. I missed the last super chat. He didn't have a question. He just threw some money at us. So I don't have his name now. But Chris Kim just chimed in here with super chat, $2.
Chris is giving me a hard time about not washing my hands after, pre-washing my hands before touching my junk. I told him to get out of here.
He said, here's a couple bucks for some hand sanitizer.
Oh, okay. So he was, yeah. Hand sanitizer doesn't work. Okay. Yeah. So I was giving him a hard time. I said, get out of here. I'm washing my hands every time I take a leak at my house or anywhere. Yes. Then I got to touch the paper towel dispenser. I got to touch the door. I got to touch everything else. Not doing it.
All right. We have a technical question here from Jeff on Facebook. Have you noticed a difference in the 40-degree spray pattern on the new Mosmatic integrated nozzles versus the old MTM 40 degrees white tip nozzles? The new nozzles seem to throw a much wider pattern.
I don't know. That seemed pretty 40-degree-ish to me.
You have the new one at the wash bay now, right?
If anything, I felt like the pattern wasn't as 40-degree-ish. It was a little bit more, a little tighter. The nice thing about it is it doesn't spin sideways as much. Once you kind of get it set, it stays set a little better. Man, I love it. It's so good. We have them, so buy them. You're good to go. And so we'll be rolling through them here, and once we get all the packages up to date, I just wanted to be sure we had it. So yeah, that's good, real good.
Let's see. Marcine wants to know, I'm looking into purchasing garage cabinets, but Sonic and Saber are a bit outside my budget range right now.
Then don't buy them.
I found some new age cabinets.
No, God, no.
For a reasonable price.
No, reasonable means garbage for a lot of money. No. Yeah, it's freaking new age, man. They're so bad. It's such
is that
junk.
the stuff you can get at Sam's, or is that something
You can get it everywhere, and you can get it everywhere at 20, 30, 40% off. There's a reason for that. It's because it costs them nothing to make because it's not good. So either don't get cabinets, buy like a Craftsman or buy like a Craftsman toolbox, and just sit tight and wait till you can swing it for something better. Maybe buy a little section at a time. So I'm just telling you, you're gonna hate it. Well, you might love it just because you need to justify the purchase, but it's just not good. It's just flimsy. It's like taking up space. New Age Pro and Bold is just not good. I was talking to the gentleman who bought Eli, who bought Saber cabinets, and we were just talking about So one of the things that's become very clear to me, in dealing with Twin Bush and Saber here as of late, it's the domestic importation, or importing Chinese goods has been so the tariffs and the renegotiation between countries is really working. It's making me as a business owner want to stop dealing with Chinese-made products altogether, and it's forcing me to go and broaden my horizon to see if there's something that could replace that. That is a similar price point and is U.S. made or European made, because the Chinese stuff has been tariffed up, and it's forced it's certainly bringing money back to the U.S. But yeah, the New Age stuff is just not good. It's just Chinese stuff that's I mean, look at it. It's like $1,200 for like a 15-foot array. Don't get hung up on, well, it has all these features. In order to give you all that stuff, they have to give up something. It's just not good. Don't do it.
Let's see. Kevin asked a good question here in the chat. He said, did Matt put up a sign that says all employees must wash their hands before returning to work?
Definitely not.
No, we don't have one of those signs.
Yeah.
Then lots more chat here about that. It's a popular topic.
Yeah.
That's good. Nicholas Velez wants to know, hi, Matt. Are you testing a DI rinse? I have seen it inside OGHQ.
No. DI Rinse purchases from Glenn. Glenn owns a website called RV Transformers. I'm pretty sure the DI Rinse Pro guys were purchasing from Glenn and, creating their own brand, their own version of it. Or it's all, purchased from the same place. I have one. It's just so freaking ugly. So it's not really a viable solution if you care what anything looks like. And so it's on my short list to work with CR to make a higher volume, but still attractive and well-designed piece instead of just this lazy resin tank with a bypass on it. If that's the case, then I was talking with Glenn of purchasing it through him, but the margins are so low. Again, it's not worth my freaking time. So either I'm going to develop my own version of it somehow with somebody, as a manufacturer, but it's from a volume and output perspective. The CR is more about if you're doing low volume stuff, and you want it to look great and mount it on the wall. That's what that's for. It's great. The cartridge is really simple to swap out if you have the means to swap them out when they need to be swapped out, because it's a couple $100 to do that. Then it's a great solution. But if you're doing something higher volume, then you'll need something more stout. The problem is the stout solutions are hideous. So what am I going to do with it? I can't mount it to the wall or anything. So, and then why would you want like the little one? You want a big one. If you're going to go big, big and ugly, you might as well make it as big as possible. That way it lasts longer. So Yeah, I think the price needs to be higher on those if he wants to sell them wholesale. But it's just like me; I don't have any interest in selling things wholesale anyway. So, just the price is the price, and if you want to buy it from me from wholesale, so Glenn and I have had this conversation, and I just haven't. We use it to fill up our DI water for hyperdressing when we mix, dilute it.
All right, let's see. Brian Williams asked in the chat here if there will be an update on that Norton building. I guess he's referring to Nick's garage.
Yeah, I just canceled all traveling, so I guess I'll probably be out there when I do the Rupes thing. God, the summer's gonna be bad, man. Got OG trip, garage, Emmanuel's garage, and Denver.
Rupes.
So don't let me book anything else.
Okay. All right, let's see. Next up from Kurt. Hey, Matt, I live in the Northeast. I'll be coating my car for the first time this spring thanks to your videos. I know you're a big fan of CSL due to its ease of application and slickness. However, I was also considering Seacort's UK 3.0 topped with Gliss due to the different climate we experience here as compared to Central Florida, especially road salt, harsh winters. Any opinion on this?
No, just do CSL. UK is good too. You can't go wrong with either. But just listen to me on this. You won't be disappointed. It's legit. I don't have as much. I've used 3.0 once or twice, so I don't have as much experience with it. But it's a good combo. I just like G-Technic better.
All right, Sean says, "Hey guys, regarding a new vehicle purchase, if the paint is acceptable,
it won't be. No such thing.
Off the truck,
keep going.
And no one at the dealer touches the paint, is it totally frowned upon to follow all OG steps except for polish to prep for coating, or will a coating not bond as well without a polished surface?"
Yeah, it's just not going to go well for you. It's not going to last as long, likely, and you're going to have scratches all over your paint. I've never seen a car from the factory that doesn't need polished. So yeah, you're going to have to pony up and do it. Or just don't coat it, just wax it. Get some sort of, do something, get some sort of ceramic wax or some other thing, and try some other thing, or Sonex polymer net shield or some sort of polymer sealant or something like that. Try some, some of these, new, silicon dioxide water-based stuff. I just wouldn't coat it. You're just going to lock in all those imperfections. I'm going to have some polishers for sale here in their garage sale, so maybe you can buy them on the cheap. I shouldn't mention that. You're going to get bombarded. Email Chris at obsessedgarage.com.
I'm adding the Chris tariff on every purchase. It goes to my PayPal.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's fine with me. I'll take it.
TCR Rider wants to know, "Hey, Matt, what's the best way to handle tree sap on paint?"
You would want to use some sort of either bug and tar remover. I use CarPro Tar-X on that, and it should wipe right off. Spray it on there, leave it on there for a few seconds, wipes right off.
Let's see. You must seem grumpy today because there's some comments about her. Someone get mad at Snickers.
I'm very matter of fact today for some reason.
Matt seems hangry.
Yeah, I didn't eat lunch yet, so yeah, they're very right. I'm very matter of fact. Sorry about that, people. Let me chipper it up here, fellas. How's it going? Yeah, I'm just beat, man. We've been at it pretty hardcore here as of late, and as you can tell, I've just taken on too much, and now I'm dealing with the fallout of that, and so now I've recognized it, and so now I'm attempting to get it back under control. This is what I do. This is part of being very compulsive, right? I just jump in, a lot of times, like this whole time. I mean, how many times have I've gotten on the phone? I'm like, all right, we need to order shelving. I need to order air compressor. I need to order a Sonic MSS Plus. And then I was like, no, just get done what needs to be done, you idiot. Instead of order, I'm like, I need to order Bilstein PSS 10s for the M3. Just need to get done what I have so that I can enjoy the darn process instead of living in this destination of having everything done, which will never happen. So, yeah, that's why I'm very matter-of-fact today. So, shoot.
Let's see. Charles here says, "Hey, Matt, just wanted to say thank you. Last week, I received all the upgrades from my Greenworks. I love the Mosmatic setup and your wash packages."
Yeah, it really is fascinating how much it can change the user experience of even any entry level machine, when you make the proper modifications to it. And it would, even though the modifications are expensive, it would be really hard to chase these, to put together a good solid set of modifications, without resources like I have, where there's a benefit to being able to sell it. And that's one of the things that frustrates Kyle so much. Kyle and now Jeff, is that people just, we told you what to do, and yet they just don't listen. I think they're just trying to save a few bucks, which I get. But they're like, I got this from there and this from that, and just, and a lot of times they buy it new. Like, don't do that. Just do we told you what to do. There's a reason for that. But yeah, it does make a huge difference when you do a really nice combo of gun, wand, foam cannon, different hose, the right size nozzles, all that stuff.
Let's see. Utah VR4 says, Matt, what's the best way to clean off all the salt from the winter under the car?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I think an undercarriage sprayer like the MTM makes a lot of sense. Or if you want to keep the cost low, that little Ryobi thing. MTM actually changed the nozzles from what we had before, and so I would want to, at every wash, to really get under there and clean it off. I would think that, if especially your paint, if it's coated or waxed or protected, you're gonna obviously sacrifice your wax in a season. But I would think you wouldn't need anything special to get the salt off. It should just wash off. It's kind of like I don't think you need bug removers. You just keep it waxed or coated and maintained, and then you should keep it clean on a regular basis, and you shouldn't need to go crazy with any kind of harsh and crazy chemicals. Although I know there are some out there to help with salt and rust and stuff like that, inhibitors for rust. But I would think, and it's been many years since certainly wasn't cleaning at the level I'm cleaning now when I was in Pennsylvania last. But that's how I would approach it. Maybe I should move up north, and stay for a year and have to maintain my cars. That'd be kind of a fun series, don't you think?
We would have a really hangry Matt. Angry and cold. Let's see. Oh, Ben Peck is here in the chat. They say, Matt, give us a call, but wait until after lunch, please.
I need to get going, guys. So I have 7 emails in my inbox, and one's from Ben Pack, one's from Newsbaum, and I want to get my garage done. So bear with me, guys. I'm coming. So I'm pumped because Ben Pack has given me a provisional yes. Newsbaum has given me a provisional yes to allow me to purchase in quantity and sell the product. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make that work, because I'm not freaking doing it for 13% margin. So I'm not doing it. So we got to figure out how to make that work.
All right, Scott says, Matt, is your preference now to coat instead of Powerlock plus Colonite, or is it just because you're so busy it's easier to maintain?
No. Coatings have come so far in such a short period of time. Remember, if you go back and watch my original apprehension to coatings, they didn't look very good. They look weird. They look very synthetic-y, like really kind of just this weird look. And this is only 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago. So they've come a long way, and they don't look so odd. And now you have toppers that can help with water spotting and hydrophobic. So in the beginning, they were not very hydrophobic, or if they were hydrophobic, they were very sensitive to water spots, and they looked really weird. And that's why I did Powerlock Colonite on all my cars, because I didn't want my car looking weird. They were C-Quartz, Optico 2.0. I just didn't like the way these things looked. So now I think it's especially for me in my cars, I think as long as it looks good and it's super slick, and I get all the positive things that I like, removing Powerlock is very similar to removing CSL. You get that super soft and slick. The difference is Powerlock's going to last you a month and a half by itself. CSL is going to last you a year by itself, or a year and a half by itself. So, to me, it makes sense that as long as it looks the part, and then you add Bead Maker on top of that, and it gives you this kind of this wax-like look with all the benefits of a coating. So, but I still think it's certainly viable to wax certain cars, or in certain instances. That's why I keep it in the store, because I still think it makes sense to have that option, especially as you're developing your skill set. It'd be nice to actually, work on your car, especially if you have one car and you're really into it. So again, I'm thinking of everything that I'm providing from today, but also 10 years ago and 10 years before that in my life. So at 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, these seasons of my life, what would I have chosen from what would I have chosen to do? And, I would want to be out rubbing on my car all the time. And so if I did wax every 6 months, I could go out and redo it. Because remember, a year and a half in, your coating is starting to contaminate and stuff like that. So, your coating will last a lot longer than a year and a half or 2 years. In a lot of instances, it'll last 4 or 5. But do you want what it looks like at 3 years, without doing a refresh or a reapplication?
All right, let's see. In the chat here, we got Mr. Govio. Hey, Matt, looking to create a website to offer my detailing services.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips on starting that out? I really love how clean and simple the OG website is laid out.
Yeah, I've kind of run the gamut on websites, in that we, built a WordPress site that I could kind of go in and edit, and then we're hosting on GoDaddy, and then and then I hired somebody to come in and really make it look pretty, and then the site stopped working. And so then I had to hire somebody to come in and fix all the stuff that the guy that made it pretty do. And then I had to hire another guy because that other guy was just helping me out. And we eventually just did away with running the site on a separate host, and went just to move the whole site to Shopify. So if you're doing any kind of purchasing through your site, using something like BigCommerce, WooCommerce, or Shopify will make it so much easier for you to make the site look awesome on your own without hiring and paying a bunch of people and having to deal with speed issues and things like that. I mean, I get a text message probably twice a day of something that Shopify's doing to fix something, and so I don't have to worry about it. I mean, you could probably do something similar in Squarespace or something like that, but I'm a big proponent of Shopify. I think the platform is fantastic, especially if you're just doing detailing service. I mean, you could pay like $40 a month, $30 a month, and run your full site. Even though it's heavy store-based, there's tons of themes you can get for free. I mean, you could have your site looking great and up and running in like an afternoon. So that would be my suggestion. And then they're doing all the patches and throttling and dealing with the amount of users that are on it and all of that stuff. Lots of great analytics and reporting. You can install other things to get more data on it. So I'm a big proponent.
All right, TRK asks, are there any plans to find/offer air compressors that are a little more compact in size that can fit in garage spaces?
Yep, actually, we're going to be doing that in the next month and a half or two, and I'm going to be bringing in some Silent. There are 3 different types. I wasn't aware of this. So there are 3 different types of piston compressors. There's Silent. There's, what do they call the next one? So Silent is a traditional piston with a housing that's built in. Then there's a wobble piston, and which is like a California Air Tools, which is what do they call it? Ultra quiet. And then there's a regular piston compressor like my Jenny, and then there are silenced piston compressors where they put a big assembly or a box over it. And so I'm going to be bringing in likely Silent piston. We may bring in 1 or 2 wobble. We'll see. The wobbles I don't think are as stout. So I learned a lot about. I thought California Air Tools is the way to go, but I really didn't understand the technology, and that type of compressor is actually kind of inferior. But it is something that can work as long as you know how to manage it. But those are oil-free, and then they have a ring that has to be replaced that I think is pretty easy to do. And then, of course, I'm also going to have solved the issues with doing rotary screw in the garage. So I'm ordering a FIAC rotary screw with an oil heater, and then a separate dryer to put in HQ. It runs at 59 dB. Just to put into perspective, if you're familiar with the Krenzel is rated at 74 dB. The FIAC is rated at 59, and then the silent pistons. Now those are really only for filling tires and things like that. The silent pistons, they operate at 40 decibels, like a computer fan. It's freaking insane. It sounds like a dorm fridge. It's so cool. And so, yeah, I'm going to be rolling those out. I'm going to buy like one of each of them, do a video on each one of them, try to figure out which are the ones that make sense to offer and which ones make sense to special order. And again, like one of my most hated pages on our website is the Jenny compressor page, where I have 2 photos that are mine, and all the photos, the others like stock photos of compressors. I don't like that. It's lazy. Retail. I don't want to be a retailer. I want to provide people a value. I want to give them an excuse to buy it from me. And so, yeah, the Werther silent and wobble pistons are like the best in the world. And so we're gonna make those available to people and teach people how to do it. And then, of course, we'll outfit it just like with the pressure washer with all the proper fittings. So you get Prevost S1 couplers on it, and then a proper hose. And we'll continue to chase all that and continue to evolve that. So yeah, that's a big project we're working on here, as well as. Again, I'm behind. I said the Chicago Pneumatic I'd have dialed in. So I've kind of left the Milwaukee project for another day because I'm chasing the finishing of the conclusion of the compressed air projects. Also, we're going to publish the data on the pressure washer test here shortly as well.
Thomas, to follow up on the website real quick here, Thomas Collier says, what happened to the updated website that we mentioned before?
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah, it's still rolling. I mean, I'd hope to have it done in the next 3 or 4 months. I mean, Brad wanted to have it done last week. I said it wasn't even freaking close. So the key is to have a better menu system. That's the most important part. But when we put it together, it looked like it was lots of functionality, but it looked like it was built in 2007. It just didn't look right. So I don't want it to look like crap just so that we have a good menu. I want it to look great. Otherwise, not mess something that isn't broken. We sell a freaking $1 zillion worth of stuff. Why would we mess it up? So I want to improve it, not mess it up. So we'll get there. We're working on it.
All right. This is from Nick. He says, hey, Matt and Chris, I received your OG beanie and Meguiar's heavy-duty interior cleaner. Both products are awesome. Shipping to Australia was good and efficient. I absolutely love your rants, Matt. So thanks, Nick.
Cool.
I'm glad I got to Australia. That's awesome. Let's see. Epiphany Detailing wants to know, would you recommend to Geon Wet Coat or G-Technic C2 V3 for a simple wash and water-based protection? Just need to make it till spring. I think I heard you mention Wet Coat on the Mike OG Crew Wash.
Yeah, I mean, either Wet Coat or Hydro 2. I guess it's a decent temporary solution. I just wonder is that just creating some water behavior? Is it actually providing you any kind of protection? And I find those to kind of leave white milky stuff on the surface. They tend to build up if you use it, often. Like if you use like Carbo's Hydrofoam or whatever Geon's called, Bathe Plus, I think. I just don't like all of those type of things. So I don't know, man. I'd be inclined, like my GT3 RS has nothing on it. I'd just leave it with nothing, and then I'm going to get to it when I get to it to do it right. So I don't know. I guess it can't hurt to slap some water-based silicon dioxide on it. I wouldn't say it's like protected really well. It just might bead water nicely because you got some silicone that's kind of sitting on the surface. But I don't know. This is one of the things I want to go to B&B at some point. My no travel zone. But I'll probably try to schedule that when I go out to the RUPES training, to go out to B&B and sit down with them and talk the science of these waterborne, water-based silicon dioxide spray sealants. Does it actually offer any protection, or is it just giving us some freaking water moving? It certainly isn't as good as a regular coating, but this dream of taking the diet pill without the diet and the exercise is ridiculous. So, I don't know.
All right, Kita Cheetah, interesting name, says, "Hey Matt, I've noticed a few detailers have processes that cater to people who own a condo with only an underground garage.
Mm-hmm.
Any detailing processes that you would recommend for those of us who do not have access to a pressure washer?"
Yeah, I mean, I would try to find a quarter car wash. I mean, that's what I used to do when I was in college. Is you find a quarter car wash, figure out what hours they don't really, they don't do. We don't. There aren't a lot of people there, so you can go spend a couple of hours, and you're gonna spend probably $10 every time you go out there to wash it. Take your bucket. This is where Gamma Seals can be really useful. Take your bucket and go and use their pressure washer and that's what I would try to do. And maybe if it was a place you frequented often, maybe you could convince them to let you buy a Mosmatic gun for out there. That way you could kind of take the nozzle off and help fill the bucket. I guess it might get ripped off, being out there, but that's what I would try to do, is try to figure out how I could make washing at a quarter car wash as efficient as possible for me. The nice thing about it is then you don't have to worry about, the mess around your driveway. So that's what I would work toward.
All right, let's see. Jeff wants to know, what's your take on the Adams UV coatings? Do you think the UV feature is useful or more of a gimmick?
No, I don't think. What do you need UV for? It's just what your freaking clear coat is all about. Now, the nice thing about the ability to have the luminescence part, so I do think that they're if that's what he's talking about the what were we talking about? We were talking about the not luminance. What do they call it? What is a lightning bug called where it's like bioluminescence? So it's not bioluminescence, it's the other thing. So you can use a black light, and it would help you with high spots. So you'd be able to shine the light, you'd know where you didn't wipe the excess off, which is super smart. That kind of stuff, I think, is why the Adams of the world are going to come and take this game over.
And then Jeff follows up here and says, yes, the black light feature is what he was.
Okay, yeah. I think that's great. I don't know how good the coating is. I haven't tried it yet. But that concept, I think, is brilliant. They're going to take all of this bull crap about you got to be some magician in order to install your coating, and they're just going to make it easy. They're going to give you neat little things like this where you can use use a black light to tell you what you missed and what you've left over. I mean, that kind of stuff. And then when they get the best coating, when they have the best protection, the most longevity, the most the best ability to avoid water spotting and mineral deposits and things like that, game over. They're going to own, Adams, Meguiar's. I doubt Griot's would be a player, but when these big companies start to come out with this stuff, interesting thing. I was talking with Ivan LaCroix about the different types of coating. He's generally very up on this, but difference between like OptiCoat system versus like G-Technic and C-Quartz and CarPro or not CarPro, Ceramic Pro, and the silicon dioxide based stuff. And then there's graphene. The graphene based coating is, graphene is quite a bit softer than silicon dioxide would be. It was just an interesting conversation we had. And so, my question to him was, I said, am I mistaken in being slower to care about new things, new stuff, and because I'm looking for great and not new, and there's nothing wrong with chasing and being an early adopter and teaching the world about new stuff. That's why I like a lot of the YouTube guys will be very quick to get on and to try new stuff. I'm not interested in being that guy, and so but I think about it, I'm like, well, am I a little slow? And so we were just had an interesting conversation about graphene as an example of, it's like, well, that's just, we'll see, but it's not better than what's available. So maybe it becomes great, but right now it's just for early adopters looking for a reason to do something different. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
Well, we had a couple of folks chime in with their. You were talking about bioluminescence.
Yeah.
BW says chemiluminescence. Chemi, CHEMI.
no,
Photoluminescence from
I
Taylor.
think it was. There's bio and photo, I believe. And so I think atoms. We talked about it in the one SEMA video. I think it's photoluminescence is one that doesn't, because bioluminescence has a shelf life, and maybe it was photoluminescence that that would last infinitely. I forget what. Dang it! I need to go watch that video. It was fascinating to me, that conversation.
Nicolay wants to know, what do you have planned for the next version of Press-All bottles? I love the few I've bought, but I'm looking forward to a restock so I can buy other colors besides red.
Yeah, so our next round will be the new top or new sprayers for the blue, translucent, and green, because we have a whole frickin' storage unit filled with them. So we'll be releasing those, assuming that they solved the problem, because they were leaking from the piston from the handle. And then, of course, we needed them to fix the tips so they wouldn't break. And so, what are those? Do we know?
They're in production.
Got it. They said it would take them 2 weeks. Well, that was 2 months ago. But this is part of the deal. It takes a while. So we have those, and we're also restocking on the black and reds because they appear to have been problem solved. Not 100%, but relatively solved. And so once we get those back, then we can do some more testing and get some more feedback from people. And the great part about it is I haven't really needed to have like the big feedback loop because we kind of know what's going on with them just from our own use. And so then the longer term testing will begin so we can start to then make suggestions on how to improve them further.
Yeah, right. We still have some of the reds in stock. I think the 1,000 milliliter bottles, and we still have a few, but we will be getting more red and black in all sizes with the new stuff. Let's see. Jack on Facebook wants to know: do you think putting a cap full of ONR in a rinse bucket would benefit the 2-bucket method with its dirt encapsulation qualities?
No. Yeah, I don't think it does much. Plus, then you'd be pulling ONR over into your soap bucket, and ONR kills suds. But yeah, I don't think you'll see much of a benefit from that. But yeah, I guess it can't hurt.
It's worth a shot. Let's see.
You wouldn't know what it was doing. That's the thing.
Nick wants to know: hey Matt, have you tried Wowo's? Is that how it's pronounced? Wowo, the
I
rag
think so,
company
yeah.
stuff? Okay. You tried any more of their stuff?
No, they're on the list of the 1,000 things that I need to try. Why I need to go back to 2 cars.
All right. So, what's the order in which you're selling the cars? What goes first? The Corvette first?
Yeah, I'd like to sell the Corvette first, and the M5 very shortly after, and then maybe the M3.
That one surprised me, and lots of other people here in the chat. Maybe the M3.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not, though.
Any update on training / working out / marathon / adventure races?
Not really. I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'm, in the throes of getting HQ done, and so we had to move CrossFit, get HQ set up so I can get this place operational again because I've been gone too much, been too disconnected. So we're working very, very closely with Rick and Nancy about me being engaged in the organization, being, and being present in the organization, so that we all drive each other forward. That's requiring me to focus and get these 2 major projects done. One was relocating the gym, and secondly was getting my side back up and running so that I can start to train hard and heavy. So,
all right, let's see this question. What is Billy's shop called in Tampa? It's from Mark.
Yeah,
Okay.
Presidential
Automotive Detailing.
Yeah.
Official name.
Yeah, so I'm going. So there's Auto Paint Guard, which is Ryan, his partners. He does all the PPF, and then Billy does all the paint correction stuff. So I'll be going down there soon to do the GT3 RS.
Tony says, "Hey Matt, what nozzle size would you recommend for the Crenzola Profi 160 TST?" I'm gonna look that up.
I don't know what that is. It must be a European version.
Yeah, that one. 230 volt. Let's see if we can get some specs on that to help you out. No.
I would guess you'll probably need a 5.0.
Yeah, it looks like a more stout 1122.
Yeah, I think you need a 5.0 on that.
Did you pass your skills verified portion of the certification? Thomas wants to know.
Yeah, just barely squeaked by. So funny watching people the comments. Oh my gosh. So, one of the two things that are in the curriculum talking about tannin versus protein stain. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about it in my entire life. But that's pretty typical. I actually appreciated that they threw some of those things in there because I think that they need to make it harder, like much harder. I think that there should be a curriculum. Again, they're trying to create this from scratch. They have no money, no dollars, and so they have to raise awareness for it. And then, so to create a curriculum would cost lots of money and dollars. And so they've created a really basic 10-part testing system where there really isn't a curriculum where you can just go read some books and study. And so that would be the thing that I would love to see is to make it really hard, make it harder. And, but yeah, the one thing that I talked about was using an extractor on the headliner, which I would absolutely do. What I wouldn't do is extract the entire headliner. They're talking about if you had, coffee stains on the headliner. Now, I never even considered it, never even thought, well, you don't use an extractor on the headliner because you'd delaminate it. You'd get the glue, and then the whole thing would come falling down. But if I had a frickin' spot and I agitated and couldn't get it out, I'd probably stick the extractor up there if I had one. But that was the one thing that, Eric clarified at the end when we sat down and talked about, what I got right and wrong. That was the one thing. And then I did get protein versus tannin correct, even though I was guessing. Couldn't remember which was which. Tannin was the coffee version. But the cool thing about it is I'll never forget that. There won't be a period where I will not know that in the future. Not that it really matters, but these are terms or definitions of creating a scientific term around it, or actually quantifying what those things are called. I don't really care about that because I don't do any of that. I don't drink coffee in my car. I don't eat yogurt in my car, so I'm not going to get those stains on my seat. Just don't do it, and especially a car that I care about. And if Michelle does it, I'm hiring Rex to fix it anyway. I'm not doing that. Becoming certified is, and I knew it would be so polarizing. Like, it'd be like giving somebody a hard time because you went to college. Like, how could that be a bad thing? The only way it would be bad if you were so insecure that you didn't go, that you were hating on it. You just didn't know that you were insecure about it. And say, college is stupid. I'm a 20-year detailer, and you're a freaking detailer, dude. You're not a microbiologist, for gosh sakes. And you're not a professor of psychology at Harvard. You're freaking washing cars. So you might want to think about improving your life a little bit. And the IDA, it's like $400. My gosh, it's not going to change your life. It's not a waste of money. It's a waste of money to support something that's attempting to drive your career choice forward. These freaking crybaby losers. What is wrong with people? Like, why would you not want to do that? I don't even want to clean an interior, and I'm doing it because it's interesting. It's like, have a little bit of interest and don't get stuck. It's so funny how much this is part of the reason why I've just stopped with YouTube comments. Like, people telling me that I'm not I'm not driving forward. I'm not. What do you frickin' think I do every single day, you moron? God dang it. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but it was getting ugly.
Let me go to Adam here real quick. Adam is the one who did the super chat earlier without the question. So here's a question from him now.
Okay.
So thank you, Adam. Recently acquired a new Jeep Trackhawk with the expensive leather option.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the best treatment for brand new car leather? I assume a color lock process of some sort.
Yeah. Only no cleaning. Don't mess with it. Only leather shield. So you could either use Swiss Fax leather protection cream, which is leather shield, or leather shield. So Ram is in the process of working on moving to the U.S. So they have a U.S. present or a person present in the U.S. full time, so I've learned so much just here recently on leather care, and from Lars and Ram from Color Lock. And so think about this. So pretty much all leather. First you have to determine the type of leather. So we're going to go through this in another video series, probably in May or June when it gets settled in. And so if you take leather, coated leather, is still porous, right? There's still holes. It's still breathable. And so your typical, whether you call it what do they call it? Napa leather. There's all different names for the types of leather, like BMW calls it Dakota or Napa or something like that. But they're generally all dyed and coated leather. And so what you want is to put like a sacrificial layer on that coated leather, but you still want it to be breathable. You don't want it drying out. So you don't want to lock in with some weird leather coating stuff. So you put leather protection, or what is it called? Leather shield. Leather shield becomes the sort of the thing between your jeans and your pants and the surface of the leather. It also, if you stained it or got something on it, it will help so that you can get the stain out. And so on leather that's 2 years old or less, all you need to do is put leather shield. And then occasionally, if you're going to clean it, use like either Swiss Fax. I like Swiss Fax leather cleaner, or use the Color Lock mild cleaner, and you clean it with the brush, and then put shield on it. After that, you'd need to put leather protection cream. So after 2 years, you do the cleaning, then you do leather protection cream, and then you would add the leather shield to it. I'm a 100% believer when Lars pulled out the sanding block and taught me how to fix all that freaking Alcantara that I wasted my money on in the Corvette. So I'm going to be spending some time talking about this in the future, creating an advanced leather care kit for everybody. Right now, the Swiss Fax stuff is good for us, but I think that we'll be creating an advanced kit for all of us soon.
All right, quick follow-up to that. What about Alcantara? Do you spray that with some kind of protection when it is new?
No protection, only cleaning. So all you need to do with Alcantara is clean it. And the more you clean it, the less chance you'll need to sand it. And I'm going to be talking about this really soon on the Corvette. Gosh, I have so much to do. It's so incredible. All good stuff. But the cleaning of the leather or of the Alcantara will likely, because it hasn't been cleaned properly, will likely require me to sand it and refinish it, if you will. But yeah, Alcantara, clean with Sonax Alcantara cleaner or Color Lock fabric cleaner. Get the product in, spray the water, get it out. So you want to get the cleaning product out, but don't put any bullcrap protection stuff on it. You're just going to mess it up. No coatings, no spray UV protection. You don't want any of that stuff in your interior. You don't need it. Your windshield has plenty of UV filtering right from the factory. You can add and you can improve that slightly by just tint your windows. That's what you need to do. Don't put any glossy bullcrap, UV bullcrap on your leather. You don't need that.
All right, let's see. We got 2 more things here, then we'll call it a day because we're at 92 minutes now. Let's see. Tony in Indonesia. I recently got a package from OG.
Sweet.
After it made it all the long way to Indonesia. Thank you for sending me some cool stuff.
This stuff must really work. I'm feeling peppier.
Good. Oh. All right.
I'm still hungry, though.
Let's see. So thank you, Tony. That's awesome. Glad I got there. And last but not least here, we got a couple people asking, what you going to have for lunch now?
I don't know.
You going to
I'll
order
probably
2J's?
I'll probably just skip it.
Skip lunch straight to dinner.
I ordered the 2J's thing. I was going crazy over the other day. Were you here for that? Was he? I don't think you were here. I think you were off. I think maybe it was Monday. I ordered the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life. It was like corned beef, which I always thought was nasty, but it was apparently delicious, and pastrami with provolone on challah bread. This is like the most delicious thing I've ever eaten in my life. And so I ordered one 2 nights ago again, and I had for dinner, and it wasn't as good. So never meet your heroes twice, apparently. It depends on who's making it.
All right. Last thing here from Composites and More. While watching this, UPS showed up with my Swiss Trax floor that I ordered from you.
Heck yeah, it's going to be a fun project.
Thank you, Kyle, for all your help with
You'll
ordering
see
the flooring.
You'll see how easy it is. It's so good. You just pop that sucker together. You'll be like, holy crap, I'm done. But then you got a day of cutting all the edges. Good luck with that. I just finished the other side. But, I did the whole side. We did the whole side in 15 minutes, laid out, 1,600 square feet or so, 1,500 square feet. And then I cut all the edges in probably 8 hours worth of work, maybe 6. A lot of intricate cuts and stuff.
That's the tough part.
So I'll have a video here showing you the cabinet moving. So we'll vlog a little vlog from today with all of us goofballs messing around, and then getting that set up. And then I'll probably have a video this weekend of me doing what's that stuff called, the edge piece, treadwear. Because I need a special edge piece. The regular edge pieces won't work. So I'm going to be showing you that. Anyway, that's it.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for the questions.
Let me go eat something
Appreciate it.
delicious. How come when I'm off the wagon, we never have any delicious treats here, and I got to buy it myself? And when I'm on the wagon, there's all delicious treats pouring out of all the crevices of this place. So,
That's true.
Yeah. I need some meats and cheeses here. That's what I need. And I'm not going to wash my hands. I'm just going to straight eat it. Anyway, see you guys. Catch you on the next one. Stuff really did work. I'm ready to go.